Boiling used to be the way all vegetables were cooked. So when did we shift from the stove top to the oven? Vegetables cooked under high, dry heat make them delicious. Thanks to the contemporary food culture and the Food Network, by 1993, the New York Times ran a trend piece on roasting vegetables. You'll start with a selection of your favorite vegetables for roasting. I'll be using mushrooms, zucchini, purple onion, yellow pepper, orange pepper, red pepper, some carrots, and some garlic. You'll also need salt, pepper, dried herbs, and olive oil for seasoning. You'll also need a roasting pan that's either lined in parchment paper or a baking sheet, and a bowl for tossing your vegetables with olive oil and seasoning. Your first step is to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. After you've cleaned out your peppers and taken all the seeds out of them and cleaned them out from the inside, it's time to slice them into nice pieces. I've already pre-cut our onions, but a little trick is just to take a toothpick and stick it into the onion so that you hold all these pieces together, because as they cook, they will tend to fall apart. That's a good little trick to know about. Next, I'm just going to do a rough chop on our garlic cloves. I'm using 3 large cloves of garlic. I've pre-cut 2 medium-sized zucchinis, 2 medium-sized carrots, and I'll also be adding mushrooms. Once you've decided on your vegetables, and this is my selection, but you might have some other vegetables that you would like to add to this mixture as well, decide which ones will take the longest to cook. And for me, looking at this, it's going to be the carrots and the onions. So I'm going to start by putting these in our bowl. Sprinkle generously with olive oil. Pinch of kosher salt, 2 pinches of kosher salt. Dry herbs, and some coarse cracked pepper. Now toss your bowl. Making sure all of your vegetables are coated nicely. Now it's time to get this first batch in the oven. Your total cooking time is going to be about 20 minutes, but these vegetables are going to take longer than the rest of them. So we're going to put these in for 5 minutes ahead of time. So I set my timer for 5 minutes to give the carrots and onions a head start. And now I'm putting my beautiful peppers into the bowl, and with a few chunks of the cut garlic, generously with olive oil, pinch of salt, cracked pepper, and dried herbs. Toss. And now they're ready to go into the oven. To add my zucchini, so I'll add a little bit more oil, a few more seasonings, a little more salt, pepper, toss. And when our timer goes off, I'll add these to our baking tray. Now it's time to prepare our mushrooms. I wish you could smell how delicious these smell already. I want to tell you a little bit about onions first, though. The red onions are what are making these vegetables smell so delicious. And there's plenty of kitchen hocus pocus about cutting an onion, more than any other kitchen operation. But you can, however, when you're working with onions, if you want to get the smell off of your hands, you can get the smell off by rubbing your hands with salt or lemon juice. So now it's time to add the rest of our vegetables to the baking sheet. Spread them around, and they're going to go back in the oven now for about 12 minutes, and then I'll be adding the mushrooms. We're holding our mushrooms to last because mushrooms don't take very long to cook. When you're looking for a mushroom, look for a short stem and a firm, you don't want to see any gills showing through the mushroom. They should be nice and tight. I'm mincing 1 more clove of garlic to mix in with our mushrooms as we add them for the final roasting. Garlic is a great ingredient. They say it cures anything from the plague to the common cold and repels vampires and delights dogs. Olive oil over your mushrooms and garlic. Finish your seasoning. Salt, pepper, and dried herbs. That may seem like a lot, but it's all going to be mixed in with the other vegetables. and toss lightly. Time to stir in our mushrooms and pop these back in the oven for 5 to 7 minutes. Our beautiful roasted vegetables have roasted now for a total of 20 minutes, and they're absolutely perfect. Using a fork, just kind of pierce your vegetables with a fork to see if they're right where you want them, and these are exactly where I want them to be. Even our carrots are perfectly roasted. Once you've tasted roasted vegetables, it is frankly impossible to go back to the boiled version. Fortunately, we won't have to. Roasting vegetables has become a family favorite.